guys, I am Chris Kaler.
And I'm Amber Foster Kyuujin Cosplay, and today we are back on the guides with Shadow and Bone. Episode 3.
Yes.
Yeah, basically we're supposed to go sleep, and we just fudge it.
We're gonna watch another one. Last episode, what happened?
Well, we definitely learned that Alina was Grisha.
Yes.
Like they call her.
She learned it too, it seems. Although we have suspicions that she might have been tested before because of a scar on her hand. She's not adapting well to the new reality at all. All she wants to do is go back to Mal, and he also wants to go back to her. Mm-hmm. So we'll see how they manage that. But he's at the camp, and she's at the little palace being protected and trained to be a Grisha. She's basically like, she's a myth come true. Like she's their hope for freedom.
Life, yeah.
So, and it's really sad because we agreed that with great power comes great responsibility, but then she has only known, how to be an outsider and how to be cast out and put back in her place because she was different and she didn't want that. And now she's, being praised for being that. So it's completely different from what she knows. Mm. And back in Ketterdam,
well, they find a way to cross the fold.
yes.
And get to Alina, so that's a plus.
Well,
they almost lost their way because Inez was about to kill their way.
Yes, because Alina wanted to put some rods in Kaz's wheels to do that and to make sure that Alina was not gonna keep Inej because she basically still owns her. Mm-hmm. Kaz gave her the ownership to the Crow Club as a contingency, sort of. So if he cannot bring back the money for Inej, she keeps the club. So now we need to get
it done.
We need to get Alina. So let's just jump in episode 3 and see if the plan starts, if it unfolds.
All right,
let's go. I love deer. Like it's
wow.
It's so beautiful.
That is no normal deer.
Dear Mal,
that's him.
I don't know where this letter will find you, but you mustn't worry about me. I'm fine. Safe. In the little palace.
I can do it on my own.
Press the turn, huh? Stop. I am perfectly capable of washing myself, and yes, I smell like horse. Because I'm one of 200 miles. After nearly being killed. And I understand old Ravkin, that was really quite rude.
In an hour you'll be presented to King Pyotr, and General Kirigan has asked that I make you look presentable.
I'm to meet the king?
In an hour.
You're that important.
Oh.
Yes. So let's get on with it.
I love her coat.
Yeah. I love the style.
Reminds me of an elvish coat.
Happy to get rid of them.
You said you have a contact who can get us inside. A heartrender. How do I know we can trust her?
Nina.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
You got your Nina now.
Nina's a radical. Thinks Grisha should get to choose if they serve the crown. She despises involuntary service more than she does Fjordans.
I hope they did her character well.
To those,
You're gonna have to save her now?
Or not. It depends. It depends on when in her story, the story I know of, this is. If this is what I think this is, then no. But then they could change it. I don't know. They could change, how it happens.
She isn't late.
I love how they do this.
Yes, but her things are all...
What is it?
To do together. They are ruthless Grisha hunters. We've lost our way into the little palace.
Give him a minute.
It seems like a reasonable juncture to abandon this whole Summer plan.
Abandon.
You don't know me.
And I know what a million Kruger means to me. What does it mean to you?
Freedom.
Fun. Like at least a few months.
He's a gambler, but it's like he's not a good gambler. Like it's too
You get
much
us
for
across the
him.
vault and I'll figure out the rest on the other side.
Fine. I'll need £20 of alabaster coal. A pack of Mesdalian Gerda, not the kind from Kurt. It's too weak.
That's the drug.
A goat.
Inej, Gerda, I'll get the goat. Just the coal. No detours.
Let me guess. Do not ask him to get it done quickly.
If he sees something like gambling going on, like deals and stuff. Yeah. Told you. You gotta listen. Just keep moving. Keep moving.
Alright, money in.
Oh no.
Is this an open table?
See that he knew it too. That's what he said.
How was your rest?
Restless. Despite Jenny's magic, I didn't...
Magic? Science. Or rather, small science. We do not conjure from nothing. We manipulate that which already exists around us.
You make it sound so easy.
The bird makes flight look easy. But it was born to do so.
When it's ready.
It's very true.
So, be ready.
You've got 10 seconds.
You're asking me to do something I didn't even know I could do 3 days ago.
Do you believe I brought you here to make a fool of you? Just keep your focus on me. And you'll be
Your
fine.
expectation might be a little bit high for her, you
Once he sees
know?
what you can do, and we have his blessing, you'll remain here to train.
His blessing.
I may lead the second army, but the king is still the king.
I also love his coat.
What was that little look he gave to this side? Maybe he doesn't agree with that. Maybe he doesn't like to have to answer to someone else.
Maybe the king is just an old fool who thinks that because
Well, he's not one of them. He's not one of them. So maybe that's why he's like, we should not answer to someone like him. But then,
I thought she'd be taller.
I thought she was Shoo. Tell her. Oh, I don't know. Good morning. I don't actually speak Shoo. Your Highness. Then what are you?
She is Alina Starkov,
thank you.
the Sun Summoner. She will change the future,
What?
starting now.
If I dim the lights, maybe it will be more noticeable.
Oh my god.
Cast away my shadow.
Now call the sun.
How?
It's gonna look amazing. I don't know how, but it's gonna look cool.
He has complete faith in her. She needs to do the same.
He triggered it.
How though?
Damn.
Damn. You might be right about a possible love interest between these two.
He's the one that triggered it though.
But how?
Maybe because he's darkness. You know, him, holding her hand and stuff, maybe it triggers the light. I don't know. So we're actually seeing Nina's story that we see in flashbacks in the book.
Really?
I know this. I know what this is.
So you're taking us to Fiona? To our deaths.
Stage trial, as our law demands.
How many Greece are found innocent at your so-called trial?
None. Because it's not a fair trial.
Your trials are a sham, just like you and your friends.
You said that she was supposed to be in love with Fiona, stuff?
We talked about this a little when I read the book at first. You'll see.
I thought you respected your women.
You unlit woman. You're Grisha.
Wow. But I told you, like, they're raised, you know, being told that they're not people, they're monsters, abominations.
Where the hell is Jasper?
Gambling away.
Jasper, father? Wait for me! Can't see the train.
Fucking hell.
Don't go without me!
We gotta love him though.
But a train, that's good. That would be more difficult for the monster to go after them.
I lost all of the money, but I managed to steal £20 of alabaster gold.
No, 16 pounds.
£16 of alabaster gold.
Can we do it on 60?
Never been done before.
Well, he's good at being the first to do something. This group is just made for that.
It all began with this man, one of the first Grisha in recorded history, the Bonesmith. He knew the Grisha would always be persecuted, and so he worked on a plan to magnify their power. He made creatures from his own finger bones.
Is he the bone in Shadow and Bone?
Looks like
Brimming
it.
with power, attuned only to Grisha. They learned killing one of these beasts and then melding a piece of it into their body would amplify their abilities.
They slaughter the animal to take this power.
Only the Grisha who takes that life can take that creature's power.
So she needs to kill a freaking stag to be powerful.
Well, it's
If I'm
but
right.
it's the legend. If he kills one of the animals that the first one or one of the first one created, and harnessed that power, she could become very powerful. Maybe that's what she's gonna have to do to cast away the shadows of the folk. Oh my god.
Now there's a nest nearby. But we'll be fine if they haven't attacked us in...
Well, now is the fucking time. Because of course they cannot just cross without a problem. They have no luck.
News from the Kirigan front. In the 1st Army, many casualties in the 18th, 27th, and 36th battalions. The Kirigan will be no match against the unified Ravka. Why are you here eating figs? You should be training every waking moment to tear down the foe.
It's not her fault.
Come on, she's supposed to eat at some point too.
They have many bad emotions and...
I know, everybody's stressed out, everybody's scared for their life, for their friend's life.
You're down to fumes! Never make it with this extra weight.
Give me a second. This is how we die. Just remember that I'm not throwing out the goat. Set the damn goat. It's not bait. It's for you. I need you to calm down. Shut the hell up.
Hug the goat.
You may want to make your peace.
Find something. What are you doing? Oh no, he's gone. Oh, okay, I get it. Oh, he's so fucking cool. Thanks, goat.
Are they all dead?
Oh, whoa. Patas.
They went
What I
through.
haven't said in this letter, Mal. I'm scared, Mal. We grew up reading about a saint who would one day perform a miracle of light and solve our country's problems.
She's the
And
miracle
we
of
knew that
light.
was a lie. We knew that no stranger ever solved our problems for us. The world is hard and cruel. But we had each other, and that was enough. That was everything. You told me about Cardinal North and True North. Cardinal North is a direction on a map. True North is home. You have always been my true north, Mal.
I'll find my way back to you.
And if I am to survive this,
I need to be home again.
I'll meet you at the meadow.
With you.
They like to end with a reminder of what she wants to go back to. I thought for sure, like we were so stuck on throwing the goat to you know have less weight or or throw her as a sacrifice.
I did think that the goat might serve as bait for the monster.
Yeah, but then that was
just to
so much better.
Keep them calm. So
To have him be calm, he's like the best sharpshooter. Like he's the best shooter they have. And yeah, as far as we know, he's the best shooter around. So that was fucking cool. I love that, you know, these characters that the readers know and that you're learning to know and love, they all have amazing skills, and I love when, you know, this skill is put to the front and we have a badass moment for everyone, not just the main character, but like everyone, no matter how big or small they are. And you know, it matters for every character. Like Nina, she just got introduced, but it looks like we're gonna also follow her story. So no main characters, but yet it's their story too. And I love it because these, like, to me, Alina is the main character, and Kaz's group, they're main characters, but not main characters. Yet they are the main characters of Six of Crows. And you know, as soon as we saw Nina, and as soon as I saw that they were taking her on their ship, I knew that they're basically setting up Six of Crows. So they're gonna go through with all of this, and now I know why it makes sense.
Season 2 about Six of
No,
Crows,
but
guys.
now I know why they mixed Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows.
Why?
Because in Shadow and Bone, if you make it happen as, you know, in the same storyline as Six of Crows, you give time to the viewers to get to know Kaz, Dinesh, Jesper, and Nina, and everyone. You get to see their backstory, which is something that is only seen in flashbacks or, you know, talked about in a way that would not make sense for a show, you know, about Six of Crows if we've met the characters before. You know, you'd always be showing flashbacks and stuff, which is a way to do things. But then since they started with Shadow and Bone, why not build in, you know, the flashbacks here so that when we get to Six of Crows, we already know the characters, we know the world.
Feel with the characters, yeah.
Yeah, so it's it makes me really happy. Nina is gonna go through her own thing, which is gonna make us, you know, understand more about what we talked about last episode. You know, how we talked about racism and how the differences in the races, you know, is exploited, and how, you know, some countries are at war with each other.
Oh, you brought a gift.
Baby. You wanna?
He brought a
Go
gift.
fetch.
What?
He put water everywhere.
He put it in his bowl again.
Last episode we were saying, you know, how, you know, racism and stuff was explored in this show, and it was not so much, you know, with the Fjorden and the Grisha. It was more with how Alina is Shu, and because of that she's been cast out, and now she finds herself in a world where she, even though she's supposed to find her brethren, she's still the odd one out.
Yeah.
You know, but now that we have Nina, we're gonna get to explore more of the world through her, and we're gonna get also to see the other side of the war. But there seems to be two wars happening right now. So you've got the Grisha versus, well, basically it's Ravka, but the Grisha versus the Fjorden, who want to, you know, exterminate the Grisha. You also got the civil war inside of Ravka. You've got the people who follow the old ways and the traditions, and they follow the king and stuff. And then on the other side of the fault, you have the other side of Ravka, who basically doesn't want to follow a king that they don't get to see or listen to.
I will guess that because of the fall,
it's divided. The
country or kingdom is divided in two, and on one side, like you just told, you got the king, you got the aristocracy, the monarchy, and on the other side, you got basically
the people who have to pay for the king and the army and
pay
stuff.
for the king, but they are technically on their own. They're doing their own laws, their own.
Well, they don't get anything from the other ones, but still they have to follow their rules, and so I get why some of them would be fighting back against this. It makes me very interested to see how they're gonna put this in the story because we know that the guy who's smuggling them it's the one, right? It was the same guy who smuggled them.
Yeah.
Was talking to one of the guys who wanted to rebel against the king and stuff. So and Kaz noticed it. So I don't know if it's gonna make him have something over this guy or if he's gonna use it somehow in the future. But it's a detail that they took time to show us. So of course it's gonna mean something in the story. But I love how they're building their world. They're not just focusing on the main story.
You know what? It reminds me a lot of what Game of Thrones used to do in the first season, where you got many different storyline, but each one of them
all linked though.
All linked and are all going in the same direction.
Yeah.
So they are mixing well together, so that's really nice.
Yeah.
We talked about it after we record the second episode, that even though we passed some time with the army camp, the little palace, and Ketterdam, that's right?
Yeah.
With Ketterdam.
It's your favorite part of the show!
Yeah, but I still forget the name sometimes. Ketterdam, the army camp, and little palace, every single different places, 3 different storyline, but the flow
is so good.
Is good and smooth.
Yeah.
So
I also love how
you follow it clearly and without any bumps, so it's just nice.
And I love how they're basically telling their story using the flashbacks and manipulating time so that we can get fooled, but we don't get what's the word? Mistaken or something about what's happening. How they did that thing with Nina getting attacked, and then we turn around and then it's the group that's there to figure out what happened. I loved it. I kind of like in the first one when they did that thing about the guy showing up on the other side and then figuring out that it happened before, or what's happening now in Ketterdam. It makes sense, and yet it's such a great way to manipulate the storylines and not fool is not the right word because they are fooling us sometimes, but not make us all the word. What's the fucking word?
Say it in French.
Mélanger.
Mixed up?
Well, mixed up.
Confused?
Confused, yes. Confused.
Are you confused now?
Yes, I am. Not confused with, what's happening to whom and how are they connected. But I really love that we're going to follow Nina's, trip I'm not going to say more, but her trip and what is going to bring her to eventually be part of the group. Great way to add her in. I thought it was cool.
In the little palace, it looks like General Kirigan is a human amplificator?
Apparently, it looks like no human no humans should be able to do this, but that explains now why holding her wrist made her do that.
Why was so confident in her abilities
and
to
maybe,
show in front of the king.
Maybe that explains also why when he cut her, like so much light came out because he basically, he was around, he touched her and stuff. Like maybe he amplified her ability like this too.
Maybe.
Or it's just part of the test because somehow just cutting your arm just shows that.
I don't think that he would have maybe amplified her power to when he tested
No,
her.
but maybe he triggered it somehow a little bit.
Maybe.
But that's interesting. So, does he amplify his own power? Is that why he's just so good? That'd be interesting.
I think that he's good because he trained and he's smart enough to use his power in different ways. But maybe that could help too when he's fighting.
I thought I saw a look
definitely saw
that was suspicious a little bit when he mentioned how the king was still the king.
Okay, you think about that look, okay?
No, that look. I thought, she was saying that he controls the Grisha. Like the Grisha answered to him, like he's the general and stuff, but then he answers to the king. And now we have this whole, civil war going about, old Ravka and new Ravka and who wants to follow the king and who doesn't want to follow the king and shit. And then we see him. It might not be so much about maybe he doesn't want to follow the king, but then maybe he thinks that as a Grisha, he should not have to answer to the king. I was wondering if they were going to do something like that.
From what I saw and from what you told me...
Well, I don't know anything about him, though.
Okay, to me, the Grisha seem to be servants of the king. They are treated well.
Well, they're his army,
but they are weapons, basically.
Well, yeah, no, but there's an army of Grisha and there's an army of soldiers. The king directly controls the soldiers, but then the general controls the Grisha, and he answers to the king, sort of. But he's in charge of his army. So, and the king, follows his command, but then maybe it's just rubbing him the wrong. I feel like, that look he gave when he was like, oh, the king is still the king. And he like literally looked to the side, like maybe he doesn't want or like that. So I wonder if they're gonna do anything about this. But it'd be interesting if the guy had a plan of his own to maybe control,
overthrow the king.
That'd be interesting. But I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. Because I don't know, like everyone talks about him like he's this powerful, God figure that everyone fears, and then he has to answer to a guy who doesn't fight, doesn't know anything about the war. Like she had to be prepped and all pretty and stuff to be shown to him because he knows about the war, but he doesn't want to be reminded of the war, sort of. Like he's involved but not involved.
He wants to take the credit for the Sun Summoner. Like he's the one who made it basically.
Yeah, that's the thing. So I feel like maybe there is something there, but we'll keep that in mind and see if my theories are correct later on in the story. But yeah, it looks like even though now she's supposed to be this myth come to life, and she's supposed to be loved, and she's supposed to be the hope of the Grisha, she still can't fucking run away from racism in amongst her brethren.
Her own kin. Yeah.
Her own kin. I did not recognize. I knew her face was similar to someone I've seen before. I was like, she looks familiar. But at first I did not recognize her as the one who also flirted with Mal. I want to punch her. I do agree that you shouldn't. When the guy was punishing her and being mean with her and stuff, he was saying like, you don't attack the Sun Summoner, which makes sense. You don't want to lose or hurt her. She's the hope the only hope they have. So, and they want to reconnect the country. That's all they're saying, like a unified Ravka is a strong Ravka. And I'm like, well, yes. You'll be surprised that the other side doesn't really want to be with you anymore, but we'll see. But still, so you don't attack her like this, but then if she's supposed to survive and do what she's supposed to do, well, then she needs to get strong and fast, so don't go easy on her.
I think that he meant that to not attack the Sun Summoner with intent to harm her or kill her.
That's the only reason why I'm still glad that she got,
They were supposed to do hand-to-hand combat, and she just used her own power against her.
Very
true.
true.
She's gonna have a concussion back there.
Yeah, that I agree. I don't think it was right to attack her like this, but I did not agree with the whole, handling her like she's a doll or something.
Yeah.
And the one who's trying to will eventually, I'm guessing, teach her how to use her power, saying like, why are you having fun pretending, to train for something that you won't need? I'm like, well, the fold is not the only thing that's facing her, like they're at war. Like if she gets attacked, it'd be nice if she knew how to defend herself. Oh, it's true that if she can use her power to defend herself too, it'd be cool. But hand-to-hand combat, don't spit on that. It's always useful.
Yeah. I'd like to talk very quickly about the guy who tried to guilt trip her. Why are you eating figs and stuff while you should be training outside? First of all, come on, she needs to eat like all the rest of you. Second of all, give her time. She's gonna train. She just arrived at the little palace. It's been like 2 days. 2 days.
Well, maybe some more time passed.
Okay, 3 days then. She said 3 days.
I don't agree with how he said it or why he said it or to whom he said it, but at the same time, I get why the anger is there. I mean, as far as they knew, nothing was ever gonna stop this, and then they finally, got their hope right there in front of them, and it's still not happening, after years and years of suffering and of fighting, and they want this to be over, and then the solution comes in, and she hasn't done anything, and she cannot, she doesn't appear strong, or she was saying, like, maybe they're gonna realize I'm a fraud. She's not a fraud, but then she doesn't represent the hope that they expected.
Well, in that aspect, she's technically a fraud, like she
But I really liked what she said about, how when they were younger, they learned about this tale of a god or saint who would cast a light and take away the shadows. And she's like, we've learned from a young age that if we want something to happen, we need to do it ourselves. It makes a lot of sense, and it was really well said. You know how basically it's not a god or a saint who's gonna do anything. She's the one that needs to do something, and she's being forced to do it really fast. And she didn't know. And by the way, I wanted to say, so it looks like the scar that she has on her hand has nothing to do with testing or anything. Okay. The more it goes, the more I am convinced that she didn't know she was a Grisha, and that's true. So, she doesn't, like, that's the thing. They see her as the myth that they learned about, and the one that's gonna stop it all. And they forget that she's human, and that if you look at things from her point of view, it's not as easy as it seems.
Yeah.
So,
the spiritual advisor, who's a bit creepy and pushy when he wants to be friends with you.
He seems to know stuff that we don't, and maybe not stuff we're gonna like when we find out.
Well, he did say something interesting about the old stag, the one that she kept having a dream about. So I'm pretty sure that she's gonna have to find that stag and
kill it. Maybe.
Because
they were saying, that maybe she's not powerful enough to stop the fall.
But with the power of the stag, she might be strong enough to do it.
There's a reason why they introduced this story, so yeah, it's gonna matter. And she has dreams of it too, so it's gonna be important. Although, like, if everything goes well and Kirigan is, there with her when it happens, he can amplify her power and help her too.
That might be good.
Although he also did say that him going into the fold would attract every monster there, so
yeah, you won't be able to go. That's why he didn't come in it in the first episode.
Yeah, but then, like, that's, well, okay, in my opinion, from what we remember of this episode, he was supposed to go in and people were like, where's your general? So that's gonna suck. Like, he never told anyone he wasn't gonna go.
But now we know that if he went in there, the monster would have just rushed towards him.
People are like, yeah, we must go into the fold. The general will lead us over and everything will be great. And he's just sitting there like, yeah, right. Sure. Think about it. Yeah, if you want, say it. I don't know.
Run the fold.
I like him. Yeah. Like, so far I like him, but it might be because I like the actor. But I think the character is pretty badass and cool.
It looks cool to me. Have you seen his coat?
I feel like he might have an agenda.
Have you seen his coat?
Well, yes, I love his coat. I feel like he might have an agenda when it comes to the king, but depending on how he does it, like, I'm not scared of him or anything. Fucking Kaz is my favorite character, and he's a crook, so let's go. Speaking of, though, like, this episode was also about Jesper a little bit. You got to see what type of guy he is.
A terrible gambler.
I told you about the gambling right before they actually showed us that he was a gambler, so I'm sorry about that. But, yeah.
Well, at least he's good with animals. That's a good thing for him.
It goes to show, what type of, there's a reason why Kaz keeps him around at his club, which is basically a place where people play money games. He's valuable. He knows how to fucking shoot. He's good with the gun, which is why this fucking scene in the end was great. I loved it. Like, it was so innocent, yet we were focused on throwing the fucking goat out of the train. But having him, just calm down and then shoot all these beasts was really cool. I love that we focused on him for that moment, and then we got to learn a little bit about what type of guy he was, because he's been around since the beginning, but some people could say that he's the comedic relief of the group, but he's definitely not. So, good job, buddy. It's good because without you, I don't think they would have made it. So, now we're on the other side, and we can move on with the mission and try. Well, he needs to find
kidnapping your girl.
Well, first of all, they need to get in the palace. Kaz doesn't have a way to get in the palace because Nina is not with them.
True.
So now he's got to
improvise.
Well, he did in Six of Crows, so that's the thing. We had a Jesper moment where he showed his skill and he was badass. I'm hoping for an Inej moment and a Kaz moment. I want him to come up with a plan and break some locks and open some locks with his skill. I want Inej to show you why she's called a Wraith. I want I want something, a scene just to show how cool they are.
All right.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode with us. If you want to see the next one right away, it is on Patreon already. You can check it out right now if you want. The link is in the description.
And if you don't, you can wait for the next one to be out on YouTube, which will be next week, guys.
Yes.
So see you in 7 days.
Bye.
Bye, guys.